Narcissists can't stand it when you're the one that's sick or not feeling well.
Listen to that full video because it's exactly a point that I was making in another post the other day when I shared a story about my mother in law. After I had an emergency C section, this woman could not stand that the attention was on me during my recovery. Any woman that has ever had a C section knows that it takes weeks to recover, several weeks to recover from that. And here was a woman that was my mother in law who experienced having a C section, but she compared it to my healing process. Like, I was up and walking around after the next day after I had my C section. However, I was in the hospital longer than anyone that is normally discharged within, well, I would say, what, 1 day, 2 days. I was in there for, um, between 7 to 10 days. I can't remember exactly um, how long because this was back in 2017. And I had to have tests run on me. My my stomach was distended. I was not passing any bowels. I had to constantly get pricked and poked. I had to have an MRI done. A lot of things were going on, okay? And then my twin daughters were in the NICU. But my mother in law, she tried to make me the villain because she wasn't giving me proper space. She wasn't showing any type of empathy to the point where I had ended up blocking her on my social media because I just already felt that she didn't genuinely care about my health. She was diminishing my experience, just like minimizing everything, talking shit to my husband, and she started talking to his siblings about me, and she made herself the victim. She told them, like, I don't know what I did, but she blocked me, and I just want to see my grandkids. She meant that she wanted to be able to monitor my social media posts if I was posting, which I really wasn't doing at that time because I wasn't feeling well. I was recovering. And so she made it about herself. She made it that she wanted to have access to see what I was, posting pictures of her grandkids. So she should be able to see them, and I shouldn't deny her of that. So, who's the real victim here? She made herself the victim, but she was planting seeds with his siblings saying that I blocked her. She doesn't know what she did. And my husband had mentioned it to me. He said, "You blocked my mom?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And I explained to him why. And I said, "I don't have the energy for this. She is playing games. I don't have time for it. Your mom is foul." So instead of having my back, like, he was just like, "Well, I don't see why you would block her." He was still like defending the fact that I blocked her. And I didn't have that support from him either. So it was more like, well, are you still going to be laying in bed? He would cook dinner during when I was healing, but bitch about me wanting to stay in the bed to eat instead of going downstairs with stitches and then back upstairs just to sit at the dinner table with him and his mother, who was happening to be visiting for who knew how long she was going to be staying because she was kind of wearing out her welcome at this point. Not being helpful. We had just closed on our house, and she called herself helping us move, but she threw all of our stuff in garbage bags. And after that, she threw our things in garbage bags because then my husband, he didn't help pack up our things prior to our move too. We had big idea of when our house was going to close, and it was about the timing around when our daughters were due. So our house ended up closing the week that I went into labor. And my mother-in-law, she only brought up my son's clothes and my husband's clothes from downstairs. My realtor had happened to come over the day that we moved in to just bring us a welcoming gift and to, say hi. She found me crying. My son had to answer the door and for her, and she came in and she was like, "What do you need?" And she was on it while my husband and his mom were out grocery shopping. No one put down any sheets for me. Like, they just left me in the house. I was freezing. I was probably anemic because I was so cold, but yet it was the summertime when this was all happening. They just left me unattended. So then they bitched at me that night because someone had brought me blankets, which was our realtor, and she had made my bed and she had got me something to eat. She made it back before they even came back from the grocery store. That's how long they were out of the house. And I needed to take medicine because of the pain. All right? Anyone who's experienced this C-section, you know what I'm talking about. But even if you didn't, if you've never, if you have empathy, you can only imagine. Put yourself in someone's shoes like mine, all right? So these narcissistic people do not like if you're having to be taken care of. They want the attention on them. You are too much of a burden. They don't have the patience. They don't have the empathy. They have no compassion. They will always make you out like you are too much. You're too dramatic. You're taking too long to heal. You're absorbing all of this. You're just eating it up. And you're undeserving of this special attention and treatment that you might need. Just a little TLC now. But yeah, I have more stories, and I intend to share more examples of stuff like this from stories that I've heard from others, and drop it in the comments. Have you experienced this type of neglect and abuse from your so-called mother-in-law, monster-in-law, your husband, spouse? We're here. We're sharing stories. We're bringing awareness, you guys.